Let's say you built the greatest football dynasty in NFL history. You've got the best head coach of all time, a quarterback drafted 199th overall, who turned into the greatest of all time. 6 Super Bowl rings, 9 appearances, total domination. Now imagine someone told you, yeah, but they cheated. Welcome to Spygate, the scandal that nearly blew the lid off the NFL's most sacred empire. This wasn't some harmless gamesmanship. This wasn't a guy deflating a few balls. This was a coordinated effort by the New England Patriots to illegally videotape opposing coaches' hand signals in order to steal plays, anticipate calls, and gain an advantage before the ball was even snapped. And the wildest part? They got caught, red-handed, on camera, and the league punished them, sort of, then turned around and destroyed the evidence. This is a story about cheating, but more than that, it's a story about how much the NFL is willing to protect its product, even if that means burying the truth. Because Spygate wasn't just a scandal, it was a signal that winning is everything. And if you're powerful enough, the rules don't apply to you. So buckle up. This isn't a hit piece. This is a case file of how the Patriots got caught cheating and how the league helped make it disappear. Let's start with the basics. What exactly was Spygate? In the simplest terms, the Patriots were filming opposing teams' defensive signals from illegal locations, so they could decode play calls in real time or during future matchups. Here's how it worked. NFL teams use hand signals and signs to communicate defensive plays from the sideline, especially when they don't want to huddle. These signs are supposed to be protected, meaning you're not allowed to record them for future analysis. You can observe, sure, but film it? That's a violation of league rules. The Patriots, however, were running a little side operation. They'd send team staffers, sometimes interns, sometimes coaches, to opposing sidelines or strategic angles with camcorders, specifically to zoom in on the other team's defensive signals. They weren't just collecting info during the game. They were building a library of signs, calls, and play reactions over the course of multiple seasons. When you know what play is coming, it's not just an edge, it's a cheat code. And in September 2007, that operation got exposed. During a Week 1 game against the New York Jets, the Patriots were caught videotaping the Jets' defensive signals from the sideline. The Jets had suspected it for a while and reported it to the NFL before the game even started. Sure enough, security busted a Patriot staffer mid-filming. The camera was confiscated, and the tape, pure gold. Zoom-ins on the Jets' defensive coaches giving hand signals, all organized and time-stamped. It was so blatant that the league immediately launched an investigation. What they found was this wasn't some one-time incident. The Patriots had been doing this for years, and now the NFL had a problem. A really big one. By the time the NFL caught the Patriots with a camcorder in 2007, most of the league wasn't shocked. They were like, finally, because in coaching circles, the Patriots already had a reputation, not just for outsmarting opponents, but for operating in the grayest areas of the rulebook possible, and sometimes just stomping over the line entirely. At the center of it all was Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach in NFL history, and definitely the most meticulous. But his genius came with a side of cold-blooded win-at-all-costs. And here's the thing, this wasn't the first time the Patriots were accused of shady tactics. Before they got caught, multiple teams had quietly accused the Patriots of stealing signals. Coaches started noticing that New England always seemed to be one step ahead, not in a good scouting way, but in a why do they know our audible calls kind of way. Marshall Faulk, former Rams legend, once said after Super Bowl 36, "They knew all our plays. They knew our checks. They were in our heads before the game even started." Mike Martz, the Rams head coach during that Super Bowl, echoed the same suspicions. He later said he felt violated and believed New England had inside knowledge that went way beyond game film. And here's the kicker. People inside the league suspected the Pats were filming walkthroughs and practices, not just games. Did the Patriots film the Rams' final walkthrough before the Super Bowl? We'll never know, because the NFL never let that question go very far. This wasn't a one-time edge. Belichick was building a system, a data archive of opposing team signals, tendencies, and visual cues. A way to preemptively decode plays, coverages, and pressure looks. With a large enough sample, they could start to predict entire game plans. And what makes it even crazier? The NFL warned teams about this exact thing in 2006. They sent a league-wide memo reminding teams that videotaping signals from the sidelines or opposing benches was a violation of league rules. So the Patriots knew. They knew it was illegal. They just didn't care. They either thought the NFL wouldn't do anything, or worse, that even if they did, the advantage was worth the risk. Ask around the league and you'll hear the same stories again and again. The Patriots were calling out offensive plays before the snap. They were adjusting defensive looks mid-audible with surgical precision. Teams began switching up their signals only against New England because they didn't trust the integrity of the game. Some called it gamesmanship, others flat-out cheating. But the line between prep and manipulation was blurry until the Jets caught them red-handed in 2007. That's when the rumors stopped being rumors, and the NFL had to actually do something. But what they did next might have been even more suspicious than the cheating itself. Alright, so the Patriots got caught cheating, caught filming the Jets' defensive signals from the sideline. No denials. No, you got the wrong guy. The camera was confiscated. The tape was real. The rule was clear. So what did the NFL do? Well, they responded. Kinda. Commissioner Roger Goodell came out swinging, at least on paper. Bill Belichick was fined $500,000, the largest fine ever given to a head coach. The Patriots organization was fined $250,000, and the team was forced to forfeit a first-round draft pick in the 2008 NFL Draft. Not bad, right? But then came the really weird part. During the investigation, the NFL demanded that the Patriots turn over all video evidence of any illegal filming practices. They did, multiple tapes, allegedly showing years' worth of signals from various teams. They also handed over notes and written reports decoding opponents' signals. And what did the NFL do with that potentially explosive evidence? They destroyed it. Not after a long-term review, not after a public release, not after a full-scale independent investigation. They literally held a closed-door meeting, watched the tapes, and then burned them. Okay, not literally burned them, but according to multiple reports, they were shredded, erased, and wiped clean like the league was trying to cover its own tracks. NFL execs said the tapes didn't show anything that gave the Patriots a significant advantage. But here's the thing, nobody else ever got to see them. Goodell said the destruction was about closing the door on the issue and protecting the integrity of the league. Translation: let's kill this story as fast as possible before it turns into something bigger. But former players, coaches, and media weren't buying it. Some believed the tapes showed a years-long operation that stretched back to the early 2000s, maybe even the Patriots' first Super Bowl win. Others said the NFL wanted to protect its most successful franchise and shield the entire league from a massive credibility crisis. Because here's the uncomfortable question. If the NFL released those tapes and they proved that Super Bowls were won with stolen signals, what happens to the legacy of the sport? Does the Patriots dynasty get an asterisk? Do fans stop trusting the product? Do other teams get exposed for doing the same thing? Goodell didn't want to find out. The Spygate fallout didn't just make headlines, it made it to Capitol Hill. Arlen Specter, a U.S. senator, demanded an independent investigation. He publicly accused the NFL of a cover-up, saying, "The lack of candor and the rush to destroy evidence raises serious questions about the league's conduct." The NFL ignored him. Specter even threatened to call a congressional hearing over Spygate, comparing it to baseball's steroid scandal in terms of its impact on the game's credibility. It never happened, but the fact that Congress even considered it tells you how serious this could have been. Did the tapes show the Patriots filming opposing practices? Did they have other teams' entire defensive playbooks decoded? Did they cheat in Super Bowl 36? We don't know, because the NFL made sure we never would. And just like that, the greatest dynasty of the modern NFL was coated in scandal, and the evidence was turned to dust. The official line from the NFL was clear. It was bad, we dealt with it, it's over. But the thing about scandals, especially in sports, is that once you give people a reason to doubt, they don't stop asking questions. And with Spygate, the questions kept coming, because the more players and coaches spoke up, the more it started to look like the Patriots weren't just filming during games, they might have been doing a whole lot more. Let's go back to 2002, the Patriots versus the Rams. New England was a scrappy underdog. The Rams were the greatest show on turf. Warner, Falk, Holt, Bruce, an offensive cheat code. And yet, the Patriots knew everything. Their defense wasn't just prepared, it was surgically precise. They jumped routes, called out screens, sniffed out runs like they were wired into the Rams' headset. After the loss, Marshall Falk said, "I'll always believe they had our playbook. They were calling out our plays before we ran them." Rams head coach Mike Martz later admitted he believed the Patriots had advanced knowledge. He suspected they had filmed their final walkthrough practice before the game. That's right, filmed the walkthrough. You know, the last practice where teams finalize their game plan, make tweaks, install secret packages. That walkthrough. Years later, a report surfaced that the Patriots may have secretly videotaped that walkthrough. The man at the center of it, Matt Walsh, was a former Patriots staffer who worked in the team's video department from 1997 to 2003. After the scandal broke, Walsh claimed he was ordered to videotape opposing coaches' signals from illegal locations and had done it dozens of times. But the most explosive allegation, Walsh said that someone on the Patriots staff filmed the Rams Super Bowl walkthrough. That would be nuclear-level cheating, like take the rings back cheating. The NFL quickly said it investigated Walsh's claims and found no evidence to support them. Walsh was brought in for a closed-door interview with the league, and after that, nothing. No follow-up, no public report, no release of his statements. The story just died. Conveniently, the Rams weren't alone. After Spygate broke, coaches and players across the league started telling their own stories. A former Steelers assistant said the Pats knew their blitz packages before the snap, every single time. An anonymous team exec told ESPN, "They had everything. It was like they were reading our mail." Former Eagles players claimed Belichick's crew was mirroring signals and checking for patterns before halftime adjustments. Even LaDainian Tomlinson, a future Hall of Famer, said the Patriots weren't just better, they knew too much. And here's the kicker. These weren't accusations from salty rivals. These were multiple playoff teams, some of whom lost to New England in massive games. They weren't saying the Patriots were good, they were saying the Patriots were cheating. After Spygate, some teams literally started holding walkthroughs indoors with blacked-out windows, just to be safe. Other teams switched up their hand signals and play call codes every week, but only when playing the Patriots. NFL coaches are already control freaks, but against New England, they turned into conspiracy theorists with headsets. And that tells you everything. Because in the NFL, when coaches think you're cheating, even when you're not supposed to be anymore, that means you've lost the benefit of the doubt. And the Patriots, they just kept winning. All right, let's address the GOAT in the room. Would the Patriots have won without Spygate? Would Brady still be Brady? Would Belichick still be Belichick? Would we still be talking about 6 rings and 2 decades of domination? Because here's where things get complicated. The Patriots didn't fall off after Spygate. In fact, they got better. Spygate broke in 2007. That same year, the Patriots went on to have the first 16-0 regular season in NFL history. Brady threw 50 touchdowns. Randy Moss caught 23 of them. They blew teams out of stadiums like it was a video game. They lost the Super Bowl, sure, but it wasn't because they stopped cheating. It was because of a helmet catch, and the only time Eli Manning became the Terminator. From that point on, the Patriots still went to 5 more Super Bowls, won 3 of them, made the playoffs nearly every year, and Tom Brady aged like a bottle of avocado-infused wine. So, what gives? If they were cheating before, and they kept winning after, does that mean it didn't matter? Here's where it gets spicy. A lot of coaches and insiders believe Spygate gave the Patriots their original edge, not because they needed it to win forever, but because they needed it to build momentum. In the NFL, a few close wins can define a season. A couple defensive stops here, a blown coverage avoided there, and suddenly you're 11-5 instead of 8-8. You're the number 2 seed instead of watching the playoffs from home. In 2001, 2003, and 2004, the years New England won its first 3 Super Bowls, every game was tight. They beat the Rams by 3. They beat the Panthers by 3. They beat the Eagles by 3. That's a few stolen signals from a different ending. Even Belichick's defenders admit, Spygate didn't make them great, but it may have made them early. Once the foundation was set, the culture took over. Brady became Brady. Belichick became a mystic monk of gridiron warfare. They didn't need the camera anymore. The machine was already running. But if Spygate gave them the spark, that changes how we look at the fire. In the end, Spygate didn't stop the Patriots. It didn't derail the dynasty. It didn't cost them championships. It didn't even slow them down. If anything, it became part of the mystique. Because that's the weirdest part of all this. The Patriots got caught cheating, the league admitted it happened, destroyed the evidence, and then The team just kept winning. No villain arc, no fall from grace, just more rings, more banners, more do-your-job documentaries. But that doesn't mean the scandal didn't matter, because Spygate did something more subtle. It planted a seed of doubt, one that's still growing to this day. Did the Patriots film walkthroughs? Did they have years of decoded plays? Did they cheat their way through Super Bowl 36? We don't know, because the NFL made sure we never would. The evidence was shredded, the story buried, and the greatest dynasty in NFL history was allowed to live on. Spygate didn't ruin the Patriots. It might have built them. And maybe that's the scariest part of all. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button and subscribe. And if you want another video to watch out, last upload about players that were banned from the NFL is on screen now.